Democrat sheriff where illegal immigrant accused of murder vowed not to cooperate with ICE. That's right. Despicable sheriff. I'm so sick of these people. Why do y'all keep voting these crazy people in that don't care anything about you? They don't have your interests at heart. They're destroying your cities, they're destroying your towns, but yet you continue to vote for these people that's for open borders and stuff like that. It makes absolutely no sense to me. A sheriff who's charged with protecting his area is not giving over won't give over this illegal immigrant that killed someone to ICE. It makes no sense to me. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store. Also, check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for news as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Now, this is Zero Hedge, but the original article comes from the Epic Times, Tom Ozimek, and Tom reports that John Williams, who in November 2020 was elected to Athens-Clarke County Sheriff, said in an interview with Athens Political Nerds ahead of the election that he wouldn't cooperate with detainers issued by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. Quote, "It is not my intention when elected sheriff to cooperate with those detainers," Mr. Williams said. An ICE detainer is a written request to local law enforcement to detain an individual who has been arrested on criminal charges and with ICE, which ICE believes is a non-citizen subject to deportation. And I've dealt with ICE before with certain prisoners when I was a prison therapist. Um, After they finished doing their time with the state, they would have detainers, and ICE would come pick them up and ship them back and deport them to where they came from. But a detainer asks police or other agencies to notify ICE when a removable individual is to be released from custody and requests that such individual be held for longer so that ICE agents can take them into custody. Quote, "When law enforcement agencies fail to honor immigration detainers and release serious criminal offenders into the streets, it undermines ICE's ability to protect public safety and carry out its mission," ICE says in an explainer. Not something we'll be doing. In the pre-election interview, Mr. Williams said that he believes that cooperating with ICE detention requests instills a culture of fear in the community. Now, mind you, these are criminals that broke the law, that shouldn't be here anyway, and they broke the law, and ICE want to take them and deport them. He said that's a culture of fear. Quote, "I see it as the sheriff's responsibility, any law enforcement, to protect and serve the community," Mr. Williams continued. That's true, but that's not what you're doing. You're actually putting the community in harm's way because you're allowing these criminals to be on your streets. But, quote, "We can't help with a culture of fear in our community and expect our citizens to respond and help us in situations because the fact is that a lot of law enforcement is based around community support," he explained. And that's true. The community don't want these people in their community. Even illegal immigrants don't want criminal illegals in their area. Who wants that when you want to protect and you want the safety of your community? Come on now. But quote, "Building relationships is key, and if we're, I guess, antagonizing people because they are undocumented or underdocumented, then they build that fear in them, and they're not likely to come to us not only when we need their help, but when they need our help," he added. So that's not something we'll be doing. We won't be doing any type of roundups, and we won't be contributing to the culture of fear, he said. Mr. Williams' resurfaced comments have been subjected to renewed scrutiny after angry Georgia residents reacted to February 28th remarks by Athens Mayor Kelly Girtz, who sought to dismiss the claim that Athens was a sanctuary city. But you hear it from the sheriff himself. Come on, you hear it from the sheriff himself. But during a press conference on public safety, Mr. Girtz repeatedly rejected the characterization of Athens as a sanctuary city, insisting Georgia law doesn't allow it. Sanctuary cities are normally understood to be jurisdictions where illegal immigrants are protected from prosecution or deportation. So what do you say if the sheriff just said, the sheriff out of his own mouth said he will not give them to ICE? What do you call that? Well, quote, liar, you're a liar, several people in the audience yelled repeatedly in response to Mr. Gert's remarks. I mean, the people are going to speak up because they live it every day. But they came amid public outrage over the murders of Miss Riley in Athens, allegedly at the hands of Mr. Ibarra, an illegal immigrant from Venezuela who entered the country 18 months ago. ICE spokesperson Lindsey Williams told the Epic Times. Ms. Williams also said that ICE lodged a detainer after Mr. Ibarra was arrested on February 23rd and charged with the murder of Miss Riley, who was found dead near a running trail with a disfigured skull. Now, mind you, think about this. If the sheriff would have gave this guy over to ICE like that he was supposed to, this young lady would have never been killed. She would be alive today. So think about that. These Democrat policies have a direct correlation with the crime that's going on in these major cities and towns. They are causing this because of their policies. And then when someone like this dies, they be like, well, that's not our policy. We never said that this was a sanctuary city. Yeah, you might not have actually used the term or the word, but by the sheriff's own words, he's not going to give in to these detainers. So you don't have to call it a sanctuary city, but that's exactly what it is. And the Athens sheriff's resurfaced remarked about refusing to cooperate with ICE detainers were met with a flurry of critical reactions online, and rightfully so, with one popular account on social media platform X saying that instead of protecting illegal immigrants, Mr. Williams should have focused on protecting citizens in his community. Amen to that. Quote, our country is being destroyed by woke sheriffs, mayors, members of Congress, judges, and DAs, the @Travis in Flint account, which has over 360,000 followers, posted. And Mr. Williams did not respond to a request for comment on the criticism on whether he stands by the policy of not cooperating with ICE detainers in light of Miss Riley's slaying. Of course not, because he's still for this. He is an open border guy. He probably became a sheriff and was funded by George Soros, because all these people that are really, really for all of these people that are still for open borders and still, but even though they're not really talking about it, but they're still privately for open borders, most of them have been funded by George Soros. So I wouldn't doubt that the only reason why he's sheriff is because he probably was funded from George Soros and his open border society. I wouldn't doubt it. But former Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler, a Republican, said in a thread on social media that prior to 2019, Athens had a policy of compliance with ICE, but that changed after backlash from activists and pressure from Mr. Gertz. Quote, while it's the federal government's job to secure our borders, state law enforcement must hold local officials accountable when they violate the law. Amen. Our cities cannot be safe havens for violence, illegal aliens at the expense of law-abiding citizens, she wrote on social media platform X. In the wake of Miss Riley's murder, Republican lawmakers in Georgia are pushing to tighten immigration laws. Under a proposal by Rep. Jessa Petraea, a Republican, law enforcement officials who failed to cooperate with ICE detainers would be guilty of a misdemeanor. I love that. The proposal, House Bill 1105, advances through the State House Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee on February 27th and heads to full House for further debate. A number of Republicans have blamed President Joe Biden's catch and release policies for the tragic loss of Mr. Riley's life. I think it's supposed to be Miss Riley's life. Deportation. The body of Miss Riley, a 22-year-old Augusta University College of Nursing student, was found on February 22nd near running trails with an affidavit indicating that she had been beaten so brutally that her head was caved in. I think I did a video. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did a video on it. And Mr. Ibarra was arrested in connection with the slaying and charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, kidnapping, hindering a 911 call, and concealing the death of another. Yeah, I definitely reported on this. And Miss Williams, the ICE spokesperson, told the Epic Times that Mr. Ibarra was arrested in September 22 by ICE agents after making an illegal crossing near El Paso, Texas. After his arrest, he was paroled and released for further processing. Of course, he was. And she added that Mr. Ibarra was subsequently arrested in August 2023 by New York police officers and charged with acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17, as well as a motor vehicle license violation. So multiple times this guy should have been deported. Ms. Williams said he was released by NYPD before immigration officers could file a detainer request and trigger the deportation process. Now, ICE lodged the detainer after Mr. Ibarra February 23rd arrest per Ms. Williams, meaning he faces deportation after either being found not guilty or released from custody, or if convicted after serving out sentences. But let me know what you think about all this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.